Hello everyone, welcome to Crazy Geeks and it's me Roshan Shrestha. On today's session we'll be talking about what are variables, why they are needed, then we'll be talking about typesetting, the difference between statically typed and dynamically typed language, how playing around with variables in case of Python is different in comparison with some of the other languages. I will be writing some code snippets for the demonstration purpose. Okay, let's begin. Whenever we are working with any of the programming languages or any of the projects, we are supposed to handle different sort of informations. For instance, if we are to add two numbers, then we'll be dealing with, let's say, two whole numbers. These are going to be of integer data type. Then let's say we need to handle the name, then this is going to be of string type, that is a collection of characters. Suppose we are to handle the height of any person, then there is high chance we are going to play around with some floating point values. This is where variables comes into action. Variables basically implies containers where we can store the information. We provide some name to that particular allocation and assign some value on that location. When we look upon the term variable, it appears as concatenation or combination of two words in general. One is vary and another one is able. That is, variables are something whose value we are able to vary. That is, we can change or update the information held by that particular entity. Talking about variables, in many of the programming languages like C, C++, Java, Kotlin, we are supposed to tell the compiler beforehand that what sort of data type we are intending to work around with. For instance, if we are to work with any integer entity, we need to pinpoint the data type, integer, and any number, let's say num1, that is name, provided to that particular variable. This has something to do with the term type checking. Type checking implies checking the type of the construct, that is checking the type of constants or variables or lists, arrays, objects, etc. This type checking is handled in two ways. One is handled during compile time. This is linked with the statically typed language, where you are supposed to, or you are forced to provide the information regarding the type of the variable or what sort of data type you are working around with. On the other hand, if the type checking is handled during runtime or execution time, then that is termed as dynamically typed programming language. Python is purely dynamically typed language. That is, you are not supposed to tell the system that what sort of data type you are planning to work with. You can just present the name of the variable, let's say nom is the name of the variable you are planning to work with, then you will be naming nom. Then you need to assign some value to this particular variable, otherwise you can't execute this particular program. Now nom is the variable whose data type we haven't told at this point. Now we'll be assigning some values. Let's say 22 is the value of nom. Now this nom is able to handle this particular integer value. It's equivalent to writing something like int nom equals 22 in other programming languages like C, C++, Java, etc. And if you don't have any experience with those programming languages, then uh, you don't need to worry about those technicalities. You can normally get the information like nom is the name of the variable whose value is 22 in this case. Now if we are to print the value held by nom, then 22 is going to be presented as an output. As we discussed earlier, variables value could be changed since able to vary, that is vary and able, where the two terms whose concatenation leads towards variables. Now let's try to update the value of nom, which was initially 22. We'll be updating it to, let's say, 33. Now if we print the value of nom, let's say 2 times, then the output is going to be 22 then 33 in both of these cases. That is, variables always hold or carry the latest or updated information. Another interesting stuff regarding the dynamically typed programming language in comparison with the statically typed programming languages, we are able to change the type of the variable itself. That is, initially if we are to declare some variable as integer, and if we try to change it into string, then there appears the issue of multiple declaration, and this error needs to be sorted out. But in case of dynamically typed language, we are allowed to change the type as well. Let's say we need to change the value of nom from integer type to string. This is string type, and if we print the information held by this nom variable, then we are going to be provided with this value or sum. Now we are able to change the value as well as the type while updating the information. Now let's revert back to the integer value, let's say 55, and print the value of nom. Then we'll be getting the latest value is 55. I'm willing to do one check on this one so as to verify that this is being treated as the integer entity. I'm going to add 5 on the current value of nom, which must be 55. This should be provided as 60 if it's being treated as integer entity. Okay, nice. So this is how it works in case of Python. You can normally provide some name. These are user defined names in case of variables, but there are certain rules to be followed. I'll be catching you guys in the next video with some more discussion related with the variables, and we'll be writing some more codes revolving around the concept of variables and how they are used in case of Python. I hope this particular session was helpful to you all. I'll be catching you guys in next video with some more contents. Till then, have nice time. Thank you.